Hi, it's Bob. I know that another story about the election is probably about the last thing you want to hear about right now. We're within a week of electing a new president, and while our country is certainly split over who they want to be our next chief executive, we'll all agree that this has been one of the most unbelievable campaigns ever. It seems to go back and forth between being a comedy to a tragedy, and that's kind of sad. Up until now, I've made a point to refrain from posting anything about the election. You know the rule, 3 things you don't talk about: religion, sex, and politics. But I think it's time for me to chime in. No, I'm not going to try to convince you to vote for Hillary, Donald, or any of the third-party candidates. What I do want to talk about, however, is how the election may affect your portfolio. Now, conventional wisdom says that investors shouldn't make decisions on short-term events like the election. But there's not much that's conventional about this election. Normally, when we get together with a client for a review meeting, politics and elections rarely come up. But this year, it's coming up in almost every meeting. People are worried about how the election is going to affect their nest egg. Those who lean Republican are afraid that if Hillary Clinton gets elected, we're going to be a socialist country soon. Those who lean Democratic are afraid that if Donald Trump wins, he'll be a loose cannon with an itchy finger on the nuclear weapon button. Neither can be very good for an investment portfolio, right? Well, as you know, at Raw Capital Management, our investment philosophy is that it's not a good idea to try to time the markets. And we're standing by that philosophy, just as we've done during scary times in the past. We know that the financial markets don't like uncertainty, and we've had plenty of that recently. For the last several weeks, the markets have been pricing in a Clinton victory. But in the last few days, since the news of the reopened FBI investigation, we've seen some of that uncertainty kicking back in. Our advice? First, make sure that you vote. Then, have the faith that the experiment that is America will survive, no matter the outcome of one election. Our economy, while not growing as much as we might like, is still relatively strong, and we've seen signs recently that it's slowly getting a bit stronger. We will make it through this intact. We may see some increased fluctuations in the markets, but that will most likely be in the short term. Remember the sell-off after Brexit? The markets weren't expecting the Brexit vote to go the way that it did, and we had a few days of turmoil, but the emotions of the moment soon passed, and the fundamentals that drive the markets kicked back in. We would expect the same thing with this election. Hang in there, have faith in our system, and don't let the emotions of the election, whichever way it turns out, lead you to make bad investment decisions. And if you have any questions about your portfolio before or after this election is over, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thanks for watching.